I'm Wolf Blitzer. It's 1 p.m. here in Washington, 7 p.m. in Rome, 8 p.m. in Ankara, Turkey. Wherever you're watching from around the world, thanks very much for joining us. We begin with breaking news involving two very emotional, sometimes volatile issues, politics and religion. Pope Francis wading into U.S. presidential politics, suggesting that Donald Trump's immigration plans are not those of a Christian. The Pope was taking questions from reporters on a flight to Rome after his visit to the U.S.-Mexican border. He responded to Trump's plan to build a wall along that border and Trump's accusation of Mexico's using him as a political pawn. Listen to this.
Grazie Dio che ha detto che io sono politico perché
Thank God he said I was a politician, because Aristotle defined the human person as animal politicus. So at least I'm a human person. As to whether I'm a pawn, well, maybe. I don't know. I'll leave that up to your judgment and that of the people. And then, a person who thinks only about building walls, wherever they may be located, and not building bridges, is not a Christian. This is not in the gospel. As far as what you said about whether I would advise to vote or not vote, I am not going to get involved in that. I say only that this man is not a Christian if he has said things like that.
Our correspondent Rosa Flores was on that flight where the Pope made those comments. She's joining us now from Rome. Rosa, help us get some context. What exactly was the question the Pope was asked? Give us the full context of this exchange.
Well, if you're absolutely right, context is very important in this case. Here's how this question was worded. It was worded the following: Pope Francis, you've been in Mexico speaking very eloquently about immigration, but just across the border there is a fight for the White House. And one of the front runners is saying that he wants to build a wall dividing the United States and Mexico, and he also wants to deport 11 million undocumented back to Mexico. And some are even saying that you're a pawn of the Mexican government for coming at this particular time. And so Pope Francis responded by saying, I can't tell someone what to do when it comes to voting in the United States, because that's not the role of the Pope. But I will tell you that when someone speaks about building walls rather than bridges, that's not Christian. And he did mention that twice. These questions and answers were all in Italian, Wolf. And I should mention this: Pope Francis did not mention Donald Trump's name. Donald Trump's name was in the question that was asked to the Pope.
Yeah, the Pope said, as we just heard, Rosa, the Pope said, I say only that this man is not Christian if he has said things like that. And then he added, we must see it if he said things in that way. And in this, I give the benefit of the doubt. So he was suggesting that if, in fact, Trump had said these things about building a wall, which, of course, he has, as all of our viewers know, that would not be Christian. Those are pretty strong words, irrespective of the little caveat there at the end.
Definitely very strong words, Wolf. In fact, a question was posed to the Vatican spokesperson the day before this press conference and about Donald Trump and about his comments to Fox News. And the spokesperson, Father Lombardi, said, Pope Francis is aware that there is an election in the United States. He knows that there's a very colorful character that is part of this election, that is very expressive in the way that he speaks, using those particular words, Wolf. Not saying the name Donald Trump, but just, alluding to the fact that Pope Francis is aware of this election, but never naming Donald Trump by name.
It didn't take, Rosa, Donald Trump very long to respond to the Pope's comments. Just a little while ago at a campaign stop in South Carolina, he said this.
If and when the Vatican is attacked by ISIS, which, as everyone knows, is ISIS's ultimate trophy, I can promise you that the Pope would have only wished and prayed that Donald Trump would have been president. Because, it's true. Because this would not have happened. ISIS would have been eradicated, unlike what is happening now, with our all talk, no action politicians. That's what's happening now. The Mexican government and its leadership has made many disparaging remarks about me to the Pope because they want to continue to rip off the United States both on trade and at the border. That's what they're doing. They're ripping us off. And they understand that I am totally wise to them. And if I'm president, we'll stop it immediately, okay? He doesn't see how Mexican leadership, and he doesn't understand it, he doesn't see how Mexican leadership is outsmarting our president, and Obama and our leadership has no clue as to the negotiation or anything else. In other words, we are being so badly out-negotiated by Mexico. Mexico knows that if I win, those days are gone. The Pope is being told that Donald Trump is not a nice person, okay? Donald Trump is a very nice person, and I am a very nice person. And I'm a very good Christian. For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful. I'm proud to be a Christian, and as president, I will not allow Christianity to be consistently attacked and weakened, unlike what is happening now with our current president. Okay? Believe me.
Very strong response from Donald Trump, as you can see, to what the Pope had said aboard that flight from Mexico back to Rome. Let's get some perspective on all this from Mark Burns. He's a Donald Trump supporter. He's also pastor of Harvest Praise and Worship Center in Easley, South Carolina. Pastor, thanks very much for joining us. So what's your reaction to this exchange between the Pope and Donald Trump?
Well, you know, I want to piggyback on what Mr. Trump said. I really think is sad for the Mexican government to really use the Holy Father as a pawn. Again, the Pope only receiving one part of a conversation. The Mexican government is consistently using propaganda such as bringing in the Holy Father himself to outmaneuver the United States government and the leadership that we currently have. I mean, the Bible throughout the scriptures lists over and over again the building of walls. I'm a little perplexed for the Pope to say if one who is building walls would be unchristian, when in reality the Vatican itself is 100% covered around a wall. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 17, makes it very clear that Nehemiah said, see the bad situation that you're in, come and let us build a wall. In Nehemiah chapter 6, verse number 16, the Bible says that when the enemies heard that a wall was being built, they were afraid, for that the work was done by the Lord. So for me to hear the Pope declare that building a wall is, anyone who builds walls is not a Christian, I'm very perplexed and a little bit confused. Again, remind you, the Vatican itself is 100% surrounded around a wall. And I really want to be clear, because I don't want this to become a Trump attack against Catholics or the Holy Father or the Pope. Again, we recognize who the Pope is, and I think the Pope is really being used as a pawn by the Mexican government to once again outwit the United States government and our current leadership. Mr. Trump has made it clear that we as Christians will have a friend in the White House. And again, I'm just perplexed and a little bit confused why the Pope would make such statements.
I just want to be precise what the Pope said, and I'll read his words to you precisely, Pastor. He said, a person who thinks only about building walls, wherever they may be, and not of building bridges is not Christian. So those were his exact words.
Sure. And I'm going to say this. I think the United States government has been and will continue to be a safe haven for those who are less fortunate. I really believe it is important that we continue to use the might of the United States government to help those who are in trouble, to help and protect those who are being destroyed and killed. But there is a way to do it and also still protect the citizens of the United States of America. And that's exactly what Mr. Trump is proposing. It is Christ-like, I believe, to first make sure that those whom you are assigned to protect, you take care of first. My children, my wife, Tamara Burns, and my 6 beautiful children. My job as the father is to first protect my children before I begin to protect anyone else. Even when a plane is going down in a crisis, the stewardess will tell you, please put the oxygen mask on your face first before you put the oxygen mask on anyone else. And so it is important, I believe, that we first make sure that our borders are secure, then position ourselves to be a blessing to everyone else in the world. I think the United States and Mr. Trump will continue to strive to build bridges for those who are less fortunate. So let's make sure we don't confuse what the Pope said and Mr. Trump's intentions on being a unifier and not a divider.
As you know, the Pope is the spiritual leader to about 1.2 billion Catholics worldwide. Does Donald Trump risk alienating Catholics, specifically in South Carolina, where you are, when he criticizes the pontiff as being political?
Well, I think we really need to focus on the Mexican government utilizing the Pope as a pawn. We can't be foolish or to believe that the Pope does not carry such weight as he does, because he is, in fact, the Pope. He is, in fact, the Holy Father, and recognized by over a billion Catholic believers as the point of contact to who we believe the Lord Jesus Christ in heaven, the internally representation of our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob here on earth. And so we cannot be fooled and perplexed to think that the Pope does not carry a political weight wherever he goes and whatever he says. And so we want to make sure that what Mr. Trump said is not taken out of context. And what Mr. Trump said is not to alienate the Catholic body and the Holy Father himself, but to criticize the Mexican government for utilizing the Pope himself, for just giving one side of the speech. I'm sure the Mexican government didn't tell you about the countless amount of drugs that are coming through our border from the Mexican country, from Mexico. I'm sure they don't tell you about the countless amount of rapes and the countless amount of murders that take place from illegal immigrants that are using the border of Mexico to enter into the United States illegally. I'm sure they don't discuss those conversations with the Pope. It's all about building a wall and segregating and not unifying, and that's not the case at all. I do want to thank the Pope, though, for recognizing the GOP frontrunner, because, again, millions of America are doing just that, supporting Donald Trump, get behind him. Evangelicals, Christians alike, are getting behind a person who will actually do what he said he's going to do.
He's doing well among evangelical Republican primary voters, certainly according to the polls in South Carolina, where you are. Pastor, thanks very much for joining us.